Everyone, welcome to week 11 in data visualization, BDAT1006. This week we are working on Tableau story point construction, and you can find all of the information in Blackboard online. Last week we did Esri's ArcGIS online data visualization, and we just spent 1 week on that. We're not going to dive into that any further. You have an assignment related to it that's coming up soon. And we made sure that everyone's login was working. So you can find all of the assignment instructions for assignment 4 in the week 10 folder. And then the actual instructions are in this folder. When you click this link, remember it opens a Google Drive, and you're going to follow along these videos and create and replicate the dashboard that's created in these videos. All right, and that is coming up.
Hello, Benjamin. Hello, Benjamin.
Hello.
Yeah, are we to create all the dashboard both on the geo map and the insights and the rest, right? The three dashboards that were created on the different sections.
I'm not sure I understand your question. So,
yeah, the instructor created a dashboard on the first video.
Yep.
Which is the geo map. Then she also created another dashboard using insights.
Yes.
So I'm asking, are we going to create those different dashboards as well, right?
Yes. So you do have to create both the dashboard and the insights, and then you're going to combine them into what's called story maps.
Okay.
So this tool at the end, story maps, is Esri's original kind of technology, and it's made by combining both dashboards and insights together and fusing them into one.
Okay. All right.
Good question. Thanks. So that assignment's coming up soon, August 5th. Okay, so next Friday, that's due, following those videos here. And yeah, you're going to create all of these three videos you're going to watch and follow along. Hey, come on in. All right, so that is due Friday, August 5th, 11:59. It's 10%. Just make sure, if you haven't started it yet, just make sure your login's working and you have access to all of that stuff so that you can work on it when you want to get ready. Remember, we're doing 4 pages. All of the details are here, and here's my marking scheme for that, okay? Did you have any questions about the assignment?
No, for now.
Cool. So yeah, that's what we covered last week. We're just doing a quick little overview of Esri's ArcGIS, everything that we went over last week. But this week, if we go back to Module 3, this week, Week 11, we're jumping back into Tableau. So it was just kind of like a quick detour into Esri, seeing a third option, a third technology that you might see. You might not see it. It's not as popular, but if you are working in geographical fields, spatial mapping, and that sort of thing, then you probably will use ArcGIS. All right, Week 11. So Week 11 is focused on kind of finalizing or looking at that final piece of Tableau. So we've looked at worksheets, we've looked at dashboards, and now we are going to understand the process of developing a data story. And this is what you guys are going to be building for your final assignment, is a data story. So we're going to be doing some hands-on in Tableau desktop today, making our data story, and making sure we know how to make a Tableau packaged workbook this time instead of just a TWB file. So remember, for that assignment, most of you guys got it right. When you do file save as, you have to choose TWBX, because if you just do TWB, I don't get the data with the file. So it's kind of broken, and I can only see half of the stuff I want to see. So you have to do packaged workbook when you save it and submit the projects to me, okay?
If you do export, is that the same thing as save as?
Yeah, so that is the same thing. It's an easier way. It's just one button, export packaged workbook, and then it will come up and it's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Good question. All right, so we're going to continue using the Tableau packaged workbook that we were developing in Module 2 of this course. If you don't have it, I can upload it to Blackboard for you guys so you can have the same file as me to build our
Can you
data
upload
story.
it, please? Can you upload it, please? Because I observed that most of the data we're using for, is different. It's different than yours. If you can upload the data you're going to use, please.
Yeah, so the one that we're looking at looked like this. We built this together.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so does this look familiar? We would have
Yes.
done this. I think we started with this one and we went through and created this area chart. Then we did this word cloud.
Okay.
We did a pie chart and a donut chart. What else did we build? There was a bunch. We made these lollipop charts. We did a dual sales moving average line. We did a control chart. Remember this? So anything outside this parameter, we made red. Anything up above this, we made red. And then we did standard deviations, right?
Yep.
What else did we do in this one? We looked at cluster charts. And then I think we just put it into a dashboard.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want me to upload this, or do you guys have this file?
Oh, sorry. I have this one. I thought you were talking about something different.
Oh, no worries. Does anyone need this? Because I can upload it to Blackboard.
Maybe you should someone.
Yeah. All right. So I'll show you how to export packaged workbook. And this is going to export all of these, right? But it's also going to export my data source here, which is 19,988 rows. And it's going to compress it into one file so that, a lot of people, when they uploaded their file to me, they uploaded their Excel file and then they uploaded their workbook. And then I would have to go in and then the computer, because it's a different computer, it's saying, hey, I'm looking in C/user/Aaron/documents for this Excel file and I can't find it. And it's like, well, there's no user in my computer called Aaron because this is my computer. So I have to change the file path and say C/user/Ben/this file. So it's just a nightmare. So that's why going file, we're in here in Tableau, and we go export package workbook, make sure it's TWBX. Okay, and then save. I already have it in there. I can replace it, sure. And then I will upload it to Blackboard. I'll put it in this folder called Weekly Content, Story Point Building in Tableau Desktop. Actually, before I do, I want to make sure. Yeah, wait. We're going to start from scratch, so that way we can do it all together. There we go. File save as. I'll call this new. Scratch. Okay. So upload that one. Here, item. We'll come find it. From scratch, there we go. All right. So you should be able to see it there. It's linked in a subfolder. So I'm in the week 11 folder here, and there's another folder underneath learning objectives in the to-do list where we're going to go into the weekly content for this week. Basically, our to-do list is we're going to understand how actually to build a data story, and then we're going to actually do it, construct it in Tableau based on that file that I just gave you, okay? And then you can look here. This is a learning activity. We can do this first. So we're going to open up Tableau Public, and we're going to take a look at some examples of stories, okay? So I've got Tableau Public open here. And let's just search for, let's see here, something that could be interesting. If anyone's a fan of basketball. No, that's not a story. I'm gonna have to search for story point. Here we could look at the population story. No, that's not what I want. I think we've looked at this one before. Here's a good one. So this is an example of a story, right? We've kind of seen this before. It's got your dashboard or your visuals, but then it also has these tabs on the top with a basic breakdown of what each tab is about. So thousands of earthquakes are recorded each year, and then we get a bit more detail. Exactly 131,000 of magnitude 4 have been recorded since 1973. Kind of interesting. And we can interact with this map, I think, a little bit. Oh. Yeah, I can select the ones I want if I wanted to, but very cool. Then we can go to this next one. And a story kind of walks us through. We kind of have a beginning of our story. About 2 quakes each year qualify as major. And then we get a little bit more about the story about earthquakes as we're reading through. These megaquakes have drawn a lot of attention. So now we're filtering through. We can see these 9.0s, 8.1.
Benjamin?
Yeah, Artem.
So sorry to interrupt you. Are we looking at the week 11 Tableau story point construction file?
Nope. We are doing this learning activity just here.
Oh, learning activity.
So we're just opening up Tableau Public. Just going to open it, and then you can just search the gallery for some examples of stories. So I just typed in story, and I just found this one about earthquakes, and I'm just going through it to show you an example. Remember, this is what a story is like in Tableau. So it's made up of multiple visuals or multiple dashboards. We've got text, we can have titles on our map, and we can walk the user through, you know, like a zoomed out to zoomed in version of these stories. Right here we can see a 9.0. Here we have an interesting graph that's saying the trend of magnitude of earthquakes over the 70s, 80s to the later 2000s. All right, and so we can see we're actually getting higher or bigger earthquakes more often, especially on the Pacific Rim.
I think I found it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just follow along on Teams right now. You don't have to find this exact one, but I'll give you guys a couple minutes to go find some of your own. And then here we can see, you know, they don't really have a nice conclusion. So it's not my favorite example, but this is an example of a story, right, that walks us through. So remember, when you're telling a story, this is actually on the Tableau help site and their documentation. They have all of this information about how to tell a story and why. But remember, we talked about this right when we came back from Reading Week, the 7 types of data stories. So there's change over time, which is a really easy one because you have like this year and that year. And if you want to see an example of it, I'll give this link to you guys in Teams because I think this is actually really nice. You can look at an example. Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you?
Good. We can look at an example for each type of story type, right? So change over time is one of these 7 ways. We're just talking about the 7 types of telling stories in Tableau. Drill down, right? And if we want to see, they've got The Simpsons Visipedia. This sounds interesting. So here we've got a data story, and it's going to drill down. What are we looking at here? The Simpsons have had the longest running length of any primetime television series with 26 seasons, and they're still ranked 3rd in total episodes behind Gunsmoke and Lassie. So here we can see, is this the year over time that The Simpsons have been in when they started to when they've been running. And here we can see the number of episodes. So they're still top 3. However, ratings are in a steady decline. So this is interesting. We can see which example we're looking at. Drill down, right? So let's take a look at how they do an example of this. A detailed look at the ratings. We can filter by season, but we can see here from the very beginning when the show first came out to down here, the ratings are not as high. The most watched episodes. Who's the main character? I don't know. This data is from a search for character names from each episode's synopsis. Talk about guest appearances, top guest characters, looking for an episode, and information sources. So I'm not sure. They're saying drill down sets the context so their audience better understands what's going on. So
Basically, put the ratings
Yeah.
and drill down like what those ratings are. Why?
yeah, that's kind of cool. So we can look at the ratings here over all the seasons, and then we can actually filter them down by each season, and then I can look over these episodes for each season. So I can kind of drill down into each season and see, you know, the ratings for each season have even started out higher and gone lower over time. Kind of interesting. It's a pretty cool one. So yeah, this link is in Teams. I just sent it. But take a look at some of these and explore, or if you want, on Blackboard, click this public Tableau. It'll just take you to the gallery. And I'll give you guys a few minutes to see if you can find any interesting stories. And try to think about these 7 types: change over time, drill down, zoom out, contrast, intersections, factors, and outliers. All right, because these are going to be, you're going to want to pick 2 or 3 of these for your final project when you're doing this in your group. These sound all cool. Pyramids of Egypt, Vancouver cyclists. So zoom out. It starts, you start with something your audience cares about, and then you show how it relates to the bigger picture. So let's see here. A glimpse into their traffic habits by Vancouver cyclists. I once visited an emergency department to get an x-ray on my wrist.
He started with cycling and now he's gonna.
Yeah, so they're starting with something personal, right? Telling a story about themselves. And then they're talking about how Vancouver has started to embrace bike lanes because of all these injuries that have been happening. So in 2009, to improve safety, there's now more cyclists on the roads commuting. And we can see the number of bike trips over the months by the data here. And we can see obviously it peaks in the summer because in the winter it's a lot colder. People aren't really biking as much in January. And we can see which streets that have these bike lanes are being used the most. So Burrard Bridge is the most popular one by far. Very cool. And now let's see how they zoom out. 82% of cyclists wear helmets on Vancouver roads. This is a dynamic number. That's kind of cool. Are cyclists following the rules? So he stopped at a stop sign and watched cyclists, and he came to the number that 36% of cyclists disobeyed traffic control, but it depended on the type. So if it was a side street at these streets, then a very high percentage of them. If it was a 2-way stop or a 4-way stop, a lot more disobeyed at a 4-way stop. intersection, and roundabout, they actually did obey. Interesting. So let's keep looking. This is a long one. Stop means go. Yeah, so here they're just highlighting what we just looked at. And again, they're just highlighting these two. Are cyclists impeding traffic? What was this? Oh, that's interesting. We got a bit of a 404 error on this one. On their visual. Let's just see how they zoom out. All right, so that is not outside of Tableau Public. Yeah, that's why that's not rendering. So they started with some personal story and then they related it to the bigger picture of the Vancouver cycling scene. Kind of cool. Here, apparently this is using contrast. So the Great Pyramids of Egypt were built over 20 years with 200,000 workers. Wikipedia was built by 50 million contributors over 13 years and counting. So they're comparing Wikipedia and the Great Pyramids. And this is kind of cool because this is using contrast, right? So we're going to look at the stats and the data behind the numbers, and it's going to, you know, open your eyes to the contrast between something as massive as the pyramids that we can actually visualize and we can understand, and then something massive like Wikipedia that you can't see with your own eyes, you can't tangibly grasp it, but we'll see maybe with the numbers how we can understand it. Your house versus Pharaoh's tomb. So here's more contrast. How big is the Great Pyramid of Giza compared to your house? So yeah, 2,600 feet, that's probably pretty average. The Great Pyramid could fit approximately 3,500 houses. So this is pretty cool. If I make my house a lot bigger, then they adjust the visual. If I make it way smaller, it's gonna be, yeah, a huge number. There you go. It's pretty cool.
So, Professor, I want to ask.
Yeah, Christopher?
Yeah, if you have a postal code that is not complete, maybe it has the first three letters. Can you still get the location with those three through Tableau? For example, like a postal code that is a B3M0K6. If you have just the B3M, can you still get the location on the map?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Why?
No, I'm just asking that, assuming you don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know actually. That's an interesting question. Based on the postal code's first 3 digits, possibly. Yes. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about if they even map postal codes. I'll have to look into that for you. I can look into it in the first break, and then we can take a look at that. That'd be kind of interesting to see.
Then, secondly, you know, we are like some of us are using the student privilege to access Tableau now, the full version of Tableau. Assuming we are done with our program, all these dashboards that we've created on this Tableau, will it open on Tableau Public? Will it open?
Yeah, so if you create something and you upload it to Tableau Public, then it's hosted on here, basically like Wikipedia. Like anyone can view this, right? I can go down and hit this download button, right? It depends on your actual privileges that you set, right? So this has had 55,000 views, so 55,000 people have actually looked at this, but you can publish your report and then it's going to be hosted online.
No, I mean when you don't publish it. For example, the dashboard that we created in class through your lectures, okay? Now, when the access expires, can I still open your file that I created in class in a Tableau Public? Will it still open?
So when you say Tableau Public, do you just mean Tableau?
Yes, Tableau. Yeah. not
No.
the paid, not the paid version, not the paid version.
Yeah, like if you just want to run it locally on your machine.
Yes.
No. So
with,
once the license expires, you don't have access to the program anymore.
okay, so even when you have a Tableau Public, it will open, right?
Tableau Public is just a website for hosting your Tableau projects. Your Tableau project files will still have all the data and all the visuals and everything. You just won't be able to like use Tableau the way you're using it right now. I don't know if it still lets you view it as like read-only mode. I have no idea. If your Tableau license expires, maybe you can still open it and view, but I would assume that it just wouldn't even open because it would ask for an activation key, and so you wouldn't even be able to get to the visual screen or the data source screen. So you'd still have the files and everything, but you just won't be able to see them.
Yeah, some of the licenses are going to expire in August. So do we have like do the school provide extended license for students that want to continue to explore the Tableau, probably for
Yeah, I
additional
believe this
6
license
months?
expires in December, the current one.
Okay, I think I saw August there. Is it September?
I think it should be December. I can double check the expiry date for you, but what you can do too is like you can request licenses for educational purposes for students. So you can go on and you can get Tableau for free here, and you can get a free 1 year if you're still at an academic institution. So before you lose access to your Georgian email, you could, register through your college email and then get a year of access through their student support.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure it expires in December.
Okay. Thank you.
Guys, yeah, no worries. So continuing on looking at this contrast, we're looking at the Great Pyramids versus the Luxor in Las Vegas, which is the 5th largest pyramid in the world. And we can see here the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is this massive one. And then we can see in contrast this buried pyramid or the Las Vegas pyramid here, which is actually pretty big. Kind of cool. Greatest pyramid held the record as the tallest structure in the world for 3,800 years until Lincoln Cathedral. This is kind of cool over time. You can see the contrast, and then here's the Burj Khalifa, and then they've got sources and notes. So yeah, these are examples of stories. I'll give you guys 10 minutes to look through and see what you can find from these cool links, these interesting links here. Planet Earth, us versus them. And then you can keep reading through here for other advice that they have for building these stories. And then we'll actually build a story when we come back from the break. But I'll double check on those two things for the license expiry. Let's see. So let's just take a couple minutes and explore Tableau Public, see what we can find. music. Israel, you got some nice piano in the background there. I don't know if Israel... Oh, there we go. You got some
I'm
nice
sorry about
piano. No
I'm
worries.
sorry about that. You know,
I was enjoying the music.
okay, I'm sorry. The kids are just learning. They're having piano lessons. I'm sorry about that.
That's fine. That's fine. I was like, I think I hear some piano, and then it started coming through. So I did find, was it you that was asking about the Canadian postal codes?
No, it's Chris.
Oh, Chris. So Chris, if you want to use the first 3 postal code digits, I think it is possible.
Okay.
And I think it's actually the default, not default, but I think if you just have them and if you input it onto a map, I think it will just do it by default.
Okay.
It's not going to be super precise because when you reduce the postal code to 3 characters, it's going to place the location in a really broad area. But if you get all 6 postal codes, then it's going to be a lot more exact, I think.
Yes. Okay.
Let me see what else they have.
Do you mind if I share my screen a little?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. This tableau you are seeing now is a free version, Tableau public. So I was asking is after the end of this course, I have the other full version that I'm using as a student from Tableau for 1 year. Now this is the free version I had before this school. So I'm saying at the end of this course, can I open some of the visualizations that we've done? Will it still open here on this free version of Tableau? This is a free version of Tableau. This is a free version. It's the Tableau public, not the website.
Right, I see what you're saying. What are the limitations of this free version of Tableau?
Now look at the connectors are just few. You can see I can only connect to Microsoft Excel, text file, JSON file. That's all. I don't have more.
Do they have any limitations on the visuals? Like, can you only create worksheets, or can you also create dashboards and stories?
I think I've not used it much. I just downloaded it before when I did some little exploration on the Tableau itself before the course. So, but I've not worked on it. But this is the interface.
Right. If there is limitations and your files in the full version contain things that don't exist in the free version, then you might see that some of them are missing those features.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, you can even try right now to open one of your files from the current, like what we've done this semester in the Tableau public, and see if it works. And I would assume it should.
Okay, I'm doing that right now. Let me see.
I think by default, Tableau only uses the first 3 characters of a 6-character Canadian postal code. So the issue is actually trying to get it to use all 6. And then if you need, remember we used shape files?
Yes.
So there's a link to a shape file here for all Canadian postal codes and postal code addresses. So you can download that shape file.
Okay.
and then that shape file will actually allow you to visualize the postal codes. That's actually a really big version, the first link. So the second one posted by the Tableau community employee.
Okay, you see what you see?
.zip.
It's not opening up. Okay, I can see.
Yeah, while commuting with Microsoft Excel. Interesting. Yeah, so it looks like you probably will have some limitations
Yeah.
with Tableau Public.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I wanted to see if I could find when it expired here. If you check the link, I sent the shape file for you for postal codes. Let me just see Tableau license key. It's good until December 7th, 2022. That's the date. All right. There we go. All right, did you guys find anything interesting on Tableau Public?
I found one which is on earthquakes.
Yeah, that's one, actually, that's one we were looking at. Do I have it open still?
And I found one which we've already looked at before, the one on the sun.
Yeah, yeah. So the earthquake one, that's this one, right? Earthquake trends?
I cannot see.
Oh. I think we were looking at this one. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We were just looking at that one before we came in. Yeah, so that's what stories are.
I have found a water story. It's called a water story by Ryan Souls.
A water story. Interesting. This is like a vertical one coming down.
It's like a pool.
Yeah, very nice. This is more similar to like the Esri's ArcGIS. Remember, we can always click this download if you wanted to take a look at the workbook to see how that was made, right?
How would you define this one? Is it a zoom out? Is it a drill down?
I'd have to see how, like the data.
Because it's everything about water.
Yeah, so changes in global surface temperature, this would be change over time, right? So if we come back to here, the story types, we have change over time. So it uses chronology to illustrate a trend. So what we're looking at here is a change over 1880 to 2020, and we can see the change over time. This one, again, is a change over time with this x-axis being on time. Here, tree cover loss percentage. This would probably be, let's see, contrast maybe? Or outliers, it could be outliers, like showing the outliers. Greatest amount of evaporating water in the air.
So the story with combination of two charts.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And that's what I said, what was it, 2 weeks ago when we were talking about stories? You want to combine at least.
Like, not the story, but the visual. Like this visual which says tree cover loss percentage.
Oh.
It seems like outliers along with time series.
Yeah, you're right. And a good story will use at least 2, but probably 3 of these if you want to do a good job. And yeah, you want at least a visual for each one of these, right? So we're going to download one here from this weekly content folder called a sample data story, and we can take a look at F1 racing greatest of all time. Yeah, it's also online as well. It's kind of cool. And so we'll open up that. I believe I've already downloaded it. So open up a couple of these. So we'll open up this F1 sample story. It's in this weekly content folder. And we're just going to take a look at how they actually did it in Tableau. There's also this link here that just takes you to a Tableau help how to create a story, and it just walks you through. I'll do this with you, but it just walks you through how to actually manipulate Tableau to create the physical stories. So we're going to do all that, but if you want, that link is there in Blackboard. All right, so here's the water story. I just wanted to see. So he created a custom size. He did 900 by 6,125 and just did it all on one. So if you wanted to do it like that scrolling page, that's how he did it, which is kind of cool. Now let's take a look at the F1 story sample. Let's see if it's gonna open.
I'm gonna have found the photo actually.
You found it online too? What's that?
Formula One.
Oh, is that Formula 1?
Yeah.
Big fan?
Oh yeah.
So can you tell us who's the greatest of all time?
In my opinion, it should be Michael Schumacher.
Michael
Michael Schumacher.
Schumacher?
Schumacher, yeah. Michael Schumacher.
Okay,
But
let's see.
these days, people are saying that Lewis Hamilton is the greatest.
Ah,
Let's see.
let's see what they say. I can't open this one for some reason. Come on. Oh my goodness. Open. Shh, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it yet. I want to go through it, but I can't open it. Come on. What is Tableau doing? It says it's running. Stop that. Yep. There we go. Sheesh. Sometimes I find Tableau to be a little bit. Okay, so here's an example of a story. And we can see who is the greatest F1 driver of all time. Grand Prix legends such as Schumacher, Clark, Senna, and Fangio. What did you say? You think it's Schumacher or no?
Yeah.
You think it's Schumacher,
Yeah.
but a lot of people say Hamilton.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at number of race wins. Michael Schumacher is a clear winner when it comes to total number of wins and points. He's unmatched 7 world titles reflect this. However, this period of dominance came at a time when there was more races to a season, and the cars were so reliable, retirements were very rare. In fact, the results overall are skewed to the modern era for this very reason. This is a huge problem but interesting phenomenon in sports and stuff, because there's like different eras. So if you even look at like ice hockey or all of these sports, like it's probably the same with any sport. If you look at cricket, or when they use like old technology versus new technology, the sports have changed so much over 100 years. If you look at the best players then and now, the stats don't really like match. Yeah, so they're skewed. Using this measure is maybe not the best way to compare across the 50 years of Formula One. So you think it's Schumacher?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Lewis Hamilton has surpassed his record actually.
Oh, really?
He has
Okay.
more wins now.
So this is maybe a little bit out of date, but so let's look at pole positions. To win a race, you need to be fast. A good measure of the raw speed is the number of starts from pole position. Looking at the overall count of pole positions, it's clear that Michael Schumacher and Ayrton Senna are clearly out front, with Vettel leading the charge for current drivers, right? So these are 65 and 68 times, and then Vettel was 45 times. If we look at races started from the pole, plotting the number of pole positions against race starts show that although Schumacher and Senna up here have the highest number of starts from the pole, they also have the highest number of race starts, right? So here's number of poles, here's number of starts. Now the winner is Juan Manuel Fangio, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, with an amazing 57% of all his races. So the size of the bubble is in accordance of the this number to this number, right? That's why Schumacher, yeah, he had the most starts, but he had the most poles, but he also had the most starts, so he'd have the most opportunity. Yeah. So if we look at in percentiles, right, in like ratios, 57% of his were started from the pole, whereas only 21% of his. So if we look at percent of race wins, again, we can see, although Schumacher has the highest number of wins with 325 races, if we look at the ratio, then Fangio is actually 47%, because he only did 51 races and he won 47% of them, meaning he won almost every other race that he drove. Now, if we look at average number of points won per race, okay, applying the current point system, it's Fangio again who dominates with 17 points won per race. So he completed 51 races, scoring a total of 867 with an average of 17 per race, whereas Schumacher did 325 races with a total of 380. So if you divide that, it's only 11 points per race. So still his closest rival, Fangio, would be Alberto Ascari, 13.8. So who's the greatest? I say 24 wins out of 51 every other race. 29 were started from the pole and scoring an average of 17 points in a race. Over 7 years in 1950 on 4 different teams, Fangio dominated his era. And now 60 years later, many still regard this Argentinian legend as the greatest racing driver that ever lived. What do you think?
I mean, it's debatable, but yeah.
It's debatable. I don't know. So who's the person you're talking about? Hamilton?
Oh yeah, Lewis Hamilton.
I don't even see him on here.
He's not even in this data. It's like very old data, I guess.
Oh, okay. Maybe they're not looking at.
It's like very, very old, I guess.
Oh, here.
Oh, they have Lewis. So 31 times. Maybe it's of 2013, I guess.
Yeah, let's see. Lewis Hamilton has started from pole 31 times. Let's see if that's still true.
No, it's not.
How many times?
He has now, I think, above 100 poles now.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, if we did this data again, if we got, I'm sure we could find this Tableau workbook online. I think you said you did, right? If we went to Tableau Public and we found... Yeah, I wonder if we can download the workbook and then we could find like more recent data, right? Because if we look at this, they don't let us download their data. So we won't actually know what data points they're using for their pills. You could download the workbook though, and then you could put in your own data, or you could even just get your own data and make a very similar visual to that. That'd kind of be interesting. And then you could see how Lewis Hamilton compared to, but yeah, so that's a data story here in Tableau, which is kind of cool. And if you think about it, it's almost like PowerPoint, right? But it's interactive. So I can like hover over these elements. You can include things like filters or little drop downs so that we can filter through time and stuff like that. Come on in. And here, this example, it's just given us the story. But in order to make our own, we actually can't see these, but they're made up of sheets and dashboards. Each story is made up of sheets and dashboards. So here, if I wanted to take a look at, who is the greatest F1 driver of all time, this sheet, it's just an image and some text. I can open it up and we can take a look. Now, I can't edit it because whoever made this hasn't made this available to me to edit. It's just online, so we can take a look at the final version, but that's why these are hidden. I can't actually see what data they've used. If I go to data source, it says it doesn't know what the data source is. So we're going to have to build our own in order to actually see everything about how these are built. Okay, so close that. And let's open up the one that I gave you guys on Blackboard. Okay, so right in this file or in this folder, we're going to open up this TWBX workbook, and it should look something like this. You should have a bunch of these. Now I want all of us to go through this data because we've got, I know it's a little bit older, but we've got a few years of data here that we're looking at. If I go to the dashboard, we got 2013 to 2018. I'm going to open up a notepad and we're going to do this together. I want you guys to tell me anything of interest that you find as you go through the data. Any trends, you know, between like cities or products, or you know, dollar amounts of money increases in trends between customers, and then think about, okay, how can we tell a story? We'll first come up with these points of interest, okay? So we'll look through it together, and then we're all going to work together to come up with these points of interest. And then we're going to think about how can we represent these points of interest with these data story types. We're going to create a story together. So let's take a look at this file and just go through it, explore, and let's try to see what we can find, what's interesting to the users.
Benjamin, is there any way you can provide the file to that Tableau file, the workbook?
It's right here on Blackboard, Artem. So if you just go to Weekly Learning, Week 11 Story Point Construction, and then the Weekly Content folder, it's right here. You can just download it from there. I don't think I can actually give a link, like this link won't actually take you to this page because it's the same link no matter what I do, right? If I click here or here, this link doesn't actually take you to it. So you actually have to navigate to it through Module 3, Week 11, Weekly Content, and then it's the third one there. All right, anything interesting so far that we've found? This is all sales data, so it's not going to be, you know, maybe as personal as an F1 race driver, but we can maybe find some points of interest.
Thank you so much for pointing it out, Professor.
Yeah, no worries. So something like this is what I'm looking at. I'm going through year by year, and I'll start in 2018. I'm looking at this chart here, and I'm looking at the peaks. So we've got $15,000, $15,000, 11, 10 in April, October, November, December. I'm going to go to 2017. I've got another peak here in October of 18,000. I've got another peak here, a couple peaks here in October of 17 and 15,000. Another peak in April. So I'm starting to see a theme that in October, right, here's another one in 19,000. in October. For some reason, October is always a very good month for us. Here's another one, 2014 and 2013 seems to be the only one that doesn't really have huge amounts compared to March, maybe even March and April. There's a bit of a trend there as well. So that could be the first thing that we notice. We can also see that New York City is like always the top city, no matter what. All right, so we could do, coming to these story types, change over time. We could show that the cities really don't change over time. We could look at, we could do a drill down. How do we want to do a drill down?
Let's say we start with the US. We say that how total sales is changing every year.
Okay.
And then we can focus on, let's say, New York City, which is the top scorer every year.
That's a good one.
And then we can look what trends it follows.
So what trends in like what?
Like which subcategory is selling the most in New York specifically.
Okay, so then draw down into like the categories themselves, so we can split the prices up like that. I like that, so that's good. So we can use drill down. Yeah.
Maybe we can. This is I'm similar to this. Just specify the date for spring break. What are the most selling products and which city is selling the most, like this kind of stuff. Because maybe, let's say we are going to Osaka, which on spring break they were selling like a lot of boats. Maybe we can model a business for just using those data.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. So look at our top sellers at those highest points of the year. So either spring break or either October. We could isolate those months and then we could see what are our top 5 products or something.
We can specify holidays, what are the most selling items, even though if it's spring break or Canadian Thanksgiving or
right.
It could be like Christmas. What are the most selling items that everybody gives or everybody buys?
So we could kind of do that. We could kind of do a drill down for both, drilling down based on location, like what you said, and we can also do what you said, where it's drilling down based on time. So you're drilling down over that period of year, and it might not actually change. Your top selling product in April could also be your top selling product in November, but it could change, right? If you're seasonal, if you're like Canadian Tire that sells everything, in April your top selling products might be like ice fishing stuff, and then in November or the fall it might be like camping stuff, right? So it could totally change over time depending on what your business is. So that's totally a legitimate one as well. Let's take a look at some of these other ones. I don't know if zoom out would necessarily work for sales. Like you could start with like your single biggest sale or something, and then you could like zoom out and show it in relation to like your entire sales for the whole year. I don't know if that would necessarily be as good of one. Contrast, we could compare like our top 2 products or top 2 states.
I think zoom out will work depending on the data you want to report on. For example, if I reported on a national figure as the national figure, then you drill down to different regions or sales areas, depends on how it's delineated. So in that case, zoom out will work.
So that would be, you actually said drill down. That would actually be drill down. Zoom out is actually going the opposite way.
Okay.
So zoom out is like the opposite of drill down, where we would start really, really small and then we go boom, 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 and we go out and see the whole picture. So you could start with one product and see like how much does this product, how much does this one product contribute to our sales? And then we can zoom out and we can see, well, this is what our sales are in this state, and this product contributes this much to the state. And then we could zoom out even more and we can say like, well, how much does this state contribute to the national sales? And then we can see the entire picture like that. So you could totally do it that way. We can do it both. We can kind of try both. Yeah, all right, so let's get started. Those are some good ones, I think. Zoom out, change over time, and drill down. We'll kind of try to focus on doing some of those, okay? So to make a new story in Tableau, we've got these 3 buttons on the bottom, and we've never used this one here. It's a little book. and if you hover over it, just says new story. If we click it, very similarly to the new dashboard page, we get this story title and then a prompt to drag a sheet into this canvas. We also can add captions. So here's our little story points, or our story captions along the top. And if I double click, I can just type something, right? So we could type, I forget the company. I said it was Global Sales Group or something. What's the most recent year of data we have? 2018?
The last one?
Yeah, I think 2018. So I could do, and then I can make them a little bit bigger. So I'm going to call this Global Sales Group 2018 sales report. All right. And we can center our text if we want. We can do all of that kind of. Now, to add a story point, we have this little story tab up here. We can start from blank, or we can duplicate. If you want to duplicate, right now it's grayed out for me because I've got nothing on this sheet. So I can create a blank one, and now you can see I've got 2 story points, and I've got the little arrows as well. Our title, we can just right click and rename this to, you know, my story, or whatever you want to call it, sales story. And it works the same way as a dashboard. Now, before we bring in any of our sheets onto here, we want to adjust our story size from fixed to automatic. So that way it's going to take up my entire screen. All right. I noticed with a lot of the submissions for assignment 3, a lot of you didn't do this. A lot of you left it fixed, and then you left it fixed, and it was whatever your default fixed size was. So it was like something like this. So then when I went to go view it and mark it, it's like this tiny little thing on my screen, right? Like it was only this big. Whereas if all you do is this 2 clicks, you go from fixed to automatic down here, and then when I view it, it's going to be full screen. On my computer, if I put it on a TV, if I go on someone else's computer, it's going to be full screen. It's going to adjust relative to the size of the screen that you're on. Okay, so just that's always the first thing I do, fixed, automatic. Now, next thing we want to do is make like a title page or something to introduce us to our sales story. Well, we don't really have a way to do an image like we did in dashboard, right? In dashboard here, we have these objects, this objects panel, where we can drag in an image or drag in text and then edit it. With a story, I just lost it. With our story, we only have these options. So I can bring in this dashboard, right? And then that's now on this page. And then I go to this page, I can bring in, you know, this worksheet and put it here. So in order for us to actually create a title page, I'm gonna have to get rid of this. We have to create the dashboard that we want to be our title page and then drag that dashboard in. So like I said a long time ago, in order to create dashboards, we need worksheets. In order to create stories, we need dashboards. So we'll create a new dashboard. I'm going to call it title page. And I'm going to insert, oh, no, I made a mistake. We're going to go floating. All right. And then we're going to make sure all the containers are deleted. Insert an image, choose, and I've got this globe image because it's our global sales group. So you can go online, find whatever logo you want. And then we can add some text and make a bit of a title here. And then we can add another little piece of text on the bottom saying something like executive sales Tableau story 2018.
Did you get text?
Yeah, added text. Let's see. All right, you can organize it however you want. This isn't really anything super fancy, but you could add background image, all that sort of stuff. All right. Oh, and I'm missing one other thing. I should have gone automatic. All right, so it takes up my full screen size. I want to see now. Documents, downloads, load. I can edit this. I just want to change the opacity or the transparency. I don't know if that's an option. It's fine. Okay. Yeah, so we can make a bit of a title page. And now with this title page, I can come over to my dashboard, sorry, my story, and I can bring my title page in here. I can replace this. And we've got our executive sales Tableau story 2018 title page. And then we could give a bit of an introduction. Which one do we want to do first? We can drill down. We'll do the drill down. So we'll start at the national level of sales and we'll drill down to our top state, and then we'll look at our top products in our top state. Sort of drill down that way. So we're going to do an introduction to the story here. Drill down, and then we're going to get rid of this. I just dragged this in. We're going to get rid of this, and we're going to make a new dashboard again. So lots of dashboards with some more text on it. Just going to make an introduction page. And go 14. In this story, we will use the drill down method, starting with national sales over the last, what was it, 5 years, and drill down to our top state with the highest sales numbers. From there, we will drill down into our top products, our top product lines. In our best-selling state. I don't know, a bit of a short introduction. Kind of like the F1 story had an introduction, right? We could probably put this introduction on our title page, or make it, we could mix them. Let's see. But if we want to do multiple types within one story, then we could do something like this. And we could rename this to intro. There you go. Not sure why it's getting so squished. Okay, mine is not liking me right now, so maybe I'll do it a different way. Okay, so we've got our first title page is good. Now we can add an intro a little bit. We can add text this way from here. So I can make my intro page like this. Let's see. It's a little easier. Change the background. Now, if you don't like this yellow background, I don't know if it's coming through on the monitor there, but we can go to our layout. Where is it actually? We can format all of the colors in our story. If we go to story format, and we'll get this format tab, and I can see this yellow shading that I've got going on. I can change it to white, and now it's going to go away. I don't know if it's coming through in the PowerPoint there, but if we wanted to, we could add all sorts of different types of styling. So we can make it like a blue background for our title bar, like this, if you dig that. We can make our shading like dark blue, like this. And then even for our text boxes, we can do the same thing. If you want to clear all your formatting, you can do that. So anything in the story tab here, you know, if we wanted to copy or export images, show our title, or turn off our title, you can do all from the story tab. You can also click show title or hide title from here. Very similar to dashboard.
How did you add the buttons on the top?
To add a new button, so you just click this blank or duplicate. And so if you want to delete one, you just click this little X, or you can right click. No, you can't right click. You have to click the X like that, deletes it. Double click to edit the text. And then to add some more text to the screen, I could go like this. Say, this is my introduction about a drill down story type. We are going to drill down from our national sales over the last 5 years and look at our top selling state in the country. From there, we will further investigate our top selling products in that state and gain an understanding to the best products our business has to offer. All right. I don't know, just make something up there, but little quick intro, and then we can make a new blank story point. So now, what do we want to do? What do we want to show? Just like the F1 story. Okay, so we've got our title, introduction, what we're going to walk through. Now we actually want to start walking them through that story of zooming in, right, from chunk to chunk. So we can see, we can look over here. Do we have anything that represents, like, what do we want to show now?
I think we'll have to create another visual which shows the sum of sales for each year.
Sum of sales for each year. Okay. Now, do we want to do it per year first, or do we want to do it per location? You want to do it, okay, over time. And then how would we drill down from that? Are we going to choose our top year?
And to stop here and we can just compare, like we can zoom in and say that amongst all the countries, or we can do a stacked column chart.
Okay, and you want to compare each state inside of that year?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we can choose our top selling state by product line. I like that, yeah. We can also look at our entire thing over the last entire 5 years.
According to the states.
Yeah, just according to states, but I like that. I like that doing it over time as well. So let's take a look at, if we go back through this entire file, we've got our sales performance here. We can see here, okay, already broken down by department and product line that phones and chairs, this is of all time, right? I think I've got a filter on, oh, this is just 2013. But if I did all, we can see our top two are phones and chairs, our top two products. So this is just for us to understand. Now we're gonna wanna drill down and just show over year. We don't wanna necessarily go down to the product detail level yet. So yeah, like you said, we can show sales, totals, sum of sales, over year, and then we can maybe even break it down in a stacked chart by department or something.
By state.
Or yeah, by state even. Let's do that.
It's going to be stacked column.
So let's make a new worksheet. And we're going to do sum of sales. Okay, so our entire sales is $4 million. And we're going to do it over a year. Is it over order date? No. So sum of sales over order date. So you can see our best year was 2016. Now we don't want a line chart. We want a bar chart maybe for now. And we can show a lot more information than this in one visual. So we've got 2016, 1.2 million, and then we can break it down into, yeah, where is state? State, here. Let's see.
You can add it to colors.
Yeah, it's a little bit much though.
We can filter the states, top 5 or top 10.
Yeah, we can do in top N of states. But we can already see that California, New York, Pennsylvania, Texas, Washington. Maybe we can do top 10. So let's do, if I do a control click on state into filters, we can do top by field, 10, sales, sum, apply. That already looks a lot better. Now I wonder, I want to order it from biggest to smallest, going from the bottom. So let's see here. Mm-mm. Say that again. How would we?
You can filter state, click state, and then try to sort
Sort, yeah.
Yeah, and then not data source order, sort by field,
There we go.
and then sending or descending.
Sum of sales.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually want ascending. Yeah, like this. Perfect. Okay, great. And if you want to even get a little fancy with it, I don't know how good this actually looks. Whoops. You can do sum of sales on side. No. I did just have it working before I sorted.
It was state not sound.
No, there. Now we go.
I can state it looks.
Yeah, but state size would just be by the name. I want to do it by the sales amount so I can see. Now if I do field, there we go. It should make like a pyramid sum of sales. But technically, like this one, it's 52,000 and 34.
Yeah. That's,
Virginia should come before Michigan. So why is it? It should be here. 53, 52. Anyways, I don't actually really like that there anyways, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay. So yeah, my filter, sort, ascending, sum of sales. Why is it that Virginia is always on the top, even though here it's 52,000 and here it's 50? Technically that should be down there, but anyways. So this is pretty good. We can turn on some labels. And then we're going to do fit entire view. So what this will show us is our highest state per year based on sales, right? So let's rename it sales.
I guess I know. Oh, no.
What's that?
I think maybe total sales for whole year.
Sum of sales, yeah. I should say sum of sales. Sum of sales, oops. Sum of sales by state per year, right? So now we can come back to our story, and this can be our first one, right? Now, before I drag it in there, I want to have some text, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about this. So we can say, here, we can see that 2016, actually, it might be easier to have the visual before we start talking about it, and then add text. Okay, so here we can see that 2016 was our highest, was our best year with a total sales amount of, now this is where I need, I think it was 1.2 million.
But it's not so good if it's top 10.
Oh yeah, you're right. 824,000. If I just hide this filter for a sec. How much was this entire column?
It was 822.
824, but that's only for the top 10, right?
It was one.
You know,
1.2 million.
you know what we can do? So this is what's kind of cool. So this was a worksheet that I made, right? So check this out. This is where it kind of gets like you're building on top of everything that you're making, right? So we've got this worksheet. I'm going to make a new dashboard. I'm going to go automatic. I'm going to add that dashboard to this. I'm going to get rid of this little thing. And then we'll stretch this chart out to be most of it, but then we're also going to just show, okay, another worksheet. And we're just going to show sum of sales for 2016, right? Really easy. So sum of sales, and then filter, order date, years, next, 2016, apply, format this number. Maybe I can make it a pie chart. Sum of sales. Here we can do category maybe. I think we have a pie chart here. This is sales by ship mode. We want sales for 2016 by, instead of ship mode, by category. So let's go. Forgetting how to make a pie chart there for a sec. So sum of sales on angle. We also want category on size. No. Sum of sales on size, sum of sales on angle, sum of sales on color.
Can you not resize the visual and the for this one?
I think there should be a way. That's a good question. Let's take a look. Ship mode on label. Okay. And what else do we want? Sum of sales on the label. All right. Let's make it entire view. So now we can see for 2016, maybe we want to do more of like a donut chart here so that we can actually also see what the total sales were. I might actually just, it might just be easier to duplicate this. And then instead of doing it by ship mode, remove this, do it by category. Okay. And then filter it per year. Order date, years, next, 2016. Okay, so 1.2 million. All right, we're gonna have to format this label here. So that it only shows 2 decimal places. Let's see. Do you remember where the spot is to format the text on these? It's always a little hidden menu. Format.
I think it's there on the top, in the columns when you click on.
Up here?
Actually,
And you go
format.
format, numbers, decimal places is 0. I want the,
percentage.
But it's not.
I know, I want to format the percentage. Format, maybe it's this one. Format, decimal places. Format. It's going to be this one, sum of sales. Doing a percentage of the total. Format, here we go. Number, percentage, decimal place. That's not doing it though. Maybe I gotta do this one, default, percentage, there it is. So you gotta go, whichever one here says it's doing a percent of the whole on the title, just hover over it, percentage of the total, right click, format, and then on the default panel. Okay, so this donut chart I will rename to total sales for 2016 by category. Okay, then we come back to, sorry if this is getting confusing for you guys, this dashboard where we've got that pie chart. We're going to put it up here. Get rid of this. And now we can have these two visuals like so. Take up most of our screen in that story with a bit of text to talk about both of these things. Let's see here. Just get it right where I want it. Should be good. So this is dashboard 4. So I come back to my story. I'm going to go dashboard 4 to replace this. And then I can type my text here. And we can talk about this and this in one. Right? So here we can see, fix my typo, that 2016 was our best year with a total sales amount of $1.2 million. Our top category was technology with 430,000 in sales, and our top state was, and this is where I'm going to have to change this chart a little bit because when I hover over it says California, but I also want to be able to see that, right? So I want to add that to the label with the state. Okay, instead of state just being on color, we're going to do label California. But then we also want to see sum of sales on the label as well. For 35,000. Okay. Is there anything else we want to visualize on that? I don't think. Cool. So coming back to our story, we can see this kind of shaping up now. Right? It's like a PowerPoint presentation. But as we go through this, it's going to be interactive. So here we can see 2016 was our best year with a total sales amount of $1.2 million. Our top category was technology Okay, and with $430,000 in sales, and our top state was California. California with $235,000 in sales.
But in the word cloud that we have created, we're getting New York City as the top.
Are we? Okay.
It doesn't even mention California.
Really? Top cities by sales word cloud? Okay. Oh yeah, you're right. Let's see. What are we filtering out here? Top 8 by what year? All
I
years.
think,
But we're doing it also by ship mode and by category.
yeah, you'll have to remove that, I think, because that's kind of the
Yeah, I don't know if this is necessarily doing anything there. Sum of sales on size, sum of sales and city. Well, why wouldn't, well, California's a state, so California, if we did state, watch
These are
this.
cities.
Yeah, these are cities. So if you did it by state instead, then yeah, you'd get what you're looking for.
These are the cities.
Yeah, tricked me. Okay, so here we can see 2016 is our best year. Now what I want to do is kind of like highlight this and highlight this, right? So that they can still see the data, but it's going to be highlighted. So let's see if we can. Give this a title here, actually. So top sales year and category. All right, so this is pretty good information for someone to be looking at. And now what we can do is we could make a new story point, and like you said, Nishank, we could drill down into California, and we could drill down into technology, right? Because we know technology is going to be the top one that year. We can see if technology is the top one in that state. Then we can see what's our top cities, what's our top products, right? And then we can give a bit more of that detail. We can tell that story, and we're just zooming in. You know, we can find what's our best-selling product, what's our best-selling city, what's our best-selling store, and then we can tell that story. I want to see, before we take a break here, if there's a way where we can almost, I want to find the example of the Homer Simpson's one we were looking at. Okay. There was something that they did that I liked. Let's see here. Yeah, they have this one highlighted first, and that's because it's filtered here. So if we can filter, or not filter, but set our drop down to highlight this. No. That's not what I want. They have it like pre-selected, see that? That's what I want to do here. I want to have this pre-selected.
Because I think we have two visuals at once. So that's why you're not able to select it.
Technically, they have this visual though, and then they have this visual, right?
But they're filtering the second visual on the basis of the first one, right?
Right.
And we need them to can we do it through like dashboard? We could do it in dashboard. And then
Yeah, maybe, eh? So if we have it filtered in the dashboard like this, or maybe it's like use as filter, right? Which is what they've done. So then 2016, it's saying, because I only have my top 10 here, right? but I'm using it as a filter now. So if I go to my story, yeah, it's going to be like this. But now it's only going to show my top 10 states, which is not really what I want. So I'm going to turn that little use as filter button off. And if I have this selected, it does stay selected there.
What if we try to do it on the visual?
Like here?
The visual we created, the sheet.
Oh yeah, let's take a look here.
So in the paragraph one, you can,
Like this?
yeah.
Then if I go to my dashboard, then if I go to my story,
And then for the donut chart one, we can select the donut.
yeah, that's true. Okay, let's try that. So where's that donut chart? We want to select technology. The problem with the donut chart is when you select it,
Select the bottom one.
yeah, and because this is on the top layer, it kind of brings it to the front. It's not really what I want. You could make it even another chart beside it, like
But let's try it.
if you go like this. It does it for this one, which is kind of cool. So yeah, you could do your presentation. You can say, okay, this is my Tableau story for 2018 global sales group. This is what we're going to be looking at today. And then, yeah, so it is pre-highlighted, which is nice. This one is, at least anyways. And that's maybe all you really need to draw their attention to. And they can read through this, but then you can say like, okay, yeah, like take a look. This is our worst year. California is still performing well, but look at 88,000 to 223,000. And you've got this interactive dashboard, and we can even add like our parameters, our drop downs, and we can filter out things. And then now I can make this next page. So this is what we're going to do after the break. We can make this next page where we drill down into the top state of California and look at the top cities. And we'll drill down into the top category and look at the product lines. But we'll take a little break here, come back at like 10 minutes, 12:10, and then we'll continue building our Tableau story. All right, but as you can tell, a lot of dashboards and other things. I know we already created like so many worksheets here, but that's why it's good to have that plan going in, because then you might not actually need, right? Like this sales by ship type, I'm not even looking at ship type, so I might not even use it in my story. So that's why it's good to have a plan, understand what's your narrative going to be, what's your beginning, your middle, your end, and then you can understand what types of visuals you need to create in order to tell the story you want. Like with the F1 formula racing, they wanted to tell the story between, the ratios of, old to new statistics.
You can also add just a simple paragraph before this one, like before this page, you can add another paragraph which shows the totals. And then we can focus on 1.2 million. And then we can add the line, like this visual.
I see. So just like a very, very, very simple one.
Yeah, just the basic one which shows the comparison.
You do like sum of sales like this,
Yeah.
and then
Already.
just for 2016.
For every year.
Oh,
In columns. Here goes to
just like that.
columns.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we can do anything. Now let's look at the top 10 states. For each year.
Right. Yeah, and we can even break it down even further.
You can remove the year.
Hmm?
You can remove the year from there.
Yeah, sorry, that's true. We don't need the year. Just trying to figure out the best way to do this. If it would be something just like that. How do I get this axis again? No, I want it to be, yeah, just to hide it, just like that, yeah. Let me get rid of this. So pretty simple. Red's bad, green's good. And you're thinking, like even on just on this page? You could even do it on this one though, like realistically, like. Right, and then you've got in your introduction, pretty simple chart. It's not too much to take in. You can see already this is our best year. And then really breaking it down, there's a lot to digest. They can spend more time on this page. And then we'll get even more detailed here. Yeah, that's good. So you were wondering if there's a way to adjust the charts?
I don't think so. That's why they fixed the sheet size.
Yeah. That's why I think if you can, you create your dashboard the exact way you want it to, like this, with where you want to put your text. And then you drag your dashboard in so that it's so you customize it all in your dashboard. And then you just add your text where you need to. Right, and then, because like this, I can't even choose where this is going, but. Yeah. Cool. I like it. You guys good with stories so far and everything?
I was actually about to go for this one.
Oh, yeah?
I'm so sorry.
No worries. I just wanted to double check if you guys were good with
I
the
just
stuff we've been
was,
doing today. It's pretty straightforward. It's like building a dashboard.
Yeah, so the final assembly or second can be related to this one. Right?
It'll be like building, you're gonna build this. Yeah, exactly. But you're in your group, right? And so you guys gotta figure out your data, you gotta figure out basically from the ground up the whole project. What story are you gonna tell? And you can do it on whatever you're interested in. If you wanna do F1
So
or
like,
racing.
we discussed that topic like the reference, so we can. Again,
Yeah, you already figured it out, or you should have had that discussion with your group,
Okay.
right? And then you guys are gonna curate your data and format it to be, the proper, get rid of all your nulls, all that stuff. And then what you're gonna do is build this story and tell a story, right?
How many story points do we need? Like, so you have 4 right now, and that like contains 3 dashboards and 1 introduction point.
Yeah, so let me see. I believe I discussed that.
So 1 page for every person would be enough, or
I think I put it in here.
at least 1 part to each team member, but I guess it's 1 story per each.
Yeah, so each team member is responsible for the complete development, visual analysis, design, and storyboarding of their story point segments.
Yeah, everybody has 1 story point segment.
Well, this is plural, so I don't know if it's 1 or 2. Everything is.
Segment or segments too.
Story point. I think each person has to make 1 story point minimum, and you should be using your story type, like that data story type out of those 7 data story types. But I do discuss it in the video where I talk about it when I first talked about this assignment. I can't remember what I said. You might have to go back and watch that recording to see what I said in there, because I think I said at minimum you need to use 2, or maybe it's best to use 3 of those types to create your story, like of these 7 storytelling data types.
Okay.
Using at least 2, but best would be 3 out of these.
So we can-
Thank you.
So
Have a good one.
We have 7 storytelling points, and then 3 at the data storytelling.
That's a good question. Let me just double check. I know I talked about it in the recording here. I forget what I said. I want to be consistent. Let's check this other link.
So 5 person, 1 per each story point, and 3 storytelling.
It's groups of 5 or 6. So I think you'd have, if you have 5 people, you'd have minimum, and your introduction slide wouldn't count. Your conclusion slide wouldn't count as one. Each person would be doing a story point.
Yeah.
Like, not like this, but like something like this.
Yeah, at least 2 or 3 visuals dashboard, and then story.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. I don't want to say a specific number of like, oh, if you do 1 story point, you're good, because that doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're actually telling the story well. You know what I mean? Because you could have 1 dashboard that has, a very poorly designed visual, like not poorly designed, but like very basic like this. And I don't want you to think like, oh, that's okay, I'm going to get 100%, because this wouldn't give you the passing, you know what I mean? Whereas something like this, you're being a bit more detailed, and you're being a bit more, analytical with your findings. So this would obviously get a way better mark than if someone just did something like basic like this. So it's probably in your best interest to be as detailed as you can and to tell the story as well as you can and unlock any patterns or trends that would be interesting to who you're presenting the story to, right? So if you have to do that in 2 story points, because you can't fit it into 1, then do it in 2, right? So like here we're drilling down from our state and then we're going to go into city. So and that's 2 story points, then that's great, right? But if you can show what you want to show in 1, then just make sure you do it well, right?
Can we zip it to just one storytelling, like divide this page into 2? This is state, this is that, and then.
If you can do it well, right? Like if we look at something like this one, or like this, where they have like on the left they have a visual and on the right they have a visual.
Instead of 2 storytelling, just one with this.
Like if you can make it look well and they relate to each other, like here we have like actors with the most appearances, musical group appearances, and then we can visualize these and interact with them. You know, like this is a really good visual. It's got a lot going on for the reader here that I can unpack. You know, same thing here. We've got 2 different visuals, right? So it just depends how you do it. Like here, I can filter it out and drill down per season, you know, and then I can use this and actually interact with it. So yeah, there's not like a hard set value of how many of these points you'd have to make. It's just how well you can actually tell your story, right? That's why it's really important that the data you choose is something you're passionate about and you're interested in, because then you're going to do a good job of telling a story about it.
Yeah, I don't think we could like do 5 storytelling points for criminal data, because it's just like type of the crimes and location.
I think you could, for sure. I think there's a ton of data that you could talk about with criminal data.
It also depends on like what questions are you forming.
Yeah. What questions are you forming? What questions do you want to answer? What patterns do you find? You know, what relation can you find to other data sets? So I talked about how you might need to bring in other data sets. Maybe you can link criminal data and video game like releases, or like violent video games, or you can look at like, it depends what crimes you're looking at, but you could look at that kind of thing, or you know, types of movies that have been released and you know how crimes maybe relate to the type of movie that came out. I don't know, like you can just be creative with it. A lot of visualization and creating these visuals is about being creative, thinking outside the box, finding the patterns that you know you have to kind of like unlock and find them. But yeah. All right, so we'll jump back into it here and create the last piece of this puzzle. So we've got this top sales by year and by category, and now we're going to drill down into our top state. I said top sales year by state and category. So now we're going to go jump into California and look at the top cities, and we're going to jump into well, we still probably want to look at all products, but we'll see what our top products in technology are as well. So we'll look at top cities in California and our top, what is the hierarchy? Is it product line? It's like it's category, department, product line? I can't remember. I have to look here.
Segment. Categories. And then there are subcategories.
Yeah, so we have subcategory, category, and then segment fits where in it?
Segment is home, office, corporate.
Oh yeah.
Within that there's technology.
And then within subcategory is product ID.
Product name.
Yeah, I don't want product ID. So we've got Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, these are like the phones.
So segment, I don't care about. It's too high level. But here, this guy, product name, Canon Image Advanced Copier. It's the highest sales by far. So we got phones, machines, accessories. Yeah, so we can kind of bring it down to the product level. Maybe we can drill down that far. Okay, and then we've also got state, then we've got region, and then we have country and city. Is city in here? Yeah, city.
So it's region, then state, then city.
Region, then state, then city?
Region, country, state, and city.
Oh, right. Yeah, so we should not even be, I mean,
We should start with the regions.
technically we should have started with regions. I thought that this was just American data for some reason. So I've just broken it down to state. But technically,
But
we,
there is nothing else except
is there no other data in the world? I mean, we can come look at this. We can go here instead of going by state. You said region was the highest level?
because region is central, east, west.
East, west. So I'm just going to duplicate this chart just so I can keep the original region and then country.
But I don't see any other country other than US.
Oh yeah. Okay, so then it doesn't really matter. So we can just make it US data. So that's fine. We'll keep the states per year.
Is it possible that the central, like the region means within US?
It could be.
Like central US, east US?
Yeah.
West US?
Yeah, it totally could have been. In which case we could have done that. We also could have done, thinking about this now, if I make a new worksheet, we could have done sum of sales. I'm just gonna sum of sales by state, and then if I did map, and then I could have done something like US state shapefile, boundary file from, usually they're hosted on government websites here, 2018. I want 52 states. Here we go. I'm not sure the difference between these ones. I think it's the number of polygons. So like how detailed it is. So I'll just go with the middle one. Okay, and then we kind of covered this a week ago, but just to show it in practical use, let's do this. Extract all. Okay, and now let's come to, we want to find the actual SHP file. Go to Tableau, data source, open this, take a look at the column we're going to want to join on, which is going to be probably state name. Okay, go back to my file, drag it in here, and we're going to do a left join so we keep all the data from our sample superstore. And we're going to join on state, and I'm assuming state name would be the join. If I come over, orange table, this little orange is going to be our, yeah, so California, Delaware, Tennessee, Tennessee, Tennessee. Yep. So we match, we get those polygons.
Sorry for interrupting. Can we find this data in Blackboard? Blackboard?
Nope,
See-
I just Googled it.
Okay, sequence. Okay, sequence.
So I just Googled the US state shapefile. I can put the link to the one that I downloaded here. It's down under states, and I downloaded the 5M one. So I'll put it right here.
Okay.
And I'm just experimenting with this, so you don't have to try it. But now that I've got this geometry, okay, I'm going to remove all of this, bring geometry in. Okay, cool. So we've got our states like this, and now what we can do is some pretty cool stuff. So we can look at our sum of sales on where do I want to put it? Sum of sales by state. Sum of sales on color. I want to go. I want to put the state name on, I think it's detail. Yeah, so as I hover over it, then I want to put sum of sales on detail. So I can see Nevada, California did 915,000, Oregon did 35,000. And if I don't want to do it on detail, I can do it on label. So I can actually see it without having to hover. And then I can do it also on, I want to say color.
We can set the color.
Yeah, so the darker the color, the more the sales, but we can edit this so that green is good. And I don't know what would be, not red, but maybe like grayish, yeah. More of a monochrome color, but then like really nice dark green for more money. Maybe not quite gray, maybe just like a grayish green. Something like that. Yeah, I like that. Okay, and this is also, okay, I know, who is it, Chris? Or was it Chris who was always asking about using that website Color Brewer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so here's where we could use something like Color Brewer. And we want to use, I don't know how many different classes I want to use here. Maybe let's just choose 7 classes. And then I can take these, okay, these values, these hex values that are auto-generated here. I can come into Tableau. I can go like this. I can say edit colors. Instead of custom diverging, I can say stepped color, 7 steps, advanced. And I think I can say, let's see. Let's see here. I can put my hex value in here. Boom. Okay. And then I can put the end value in here. All right. And it should go 7 steps. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They should be the same. Maybe 7 steps is too much. Let's do 3, because there's not a huge differential between some of these. So let's do 3 steps. Double click this one. Put my code in. Double click this one. Apply. So a lot of the states don't have many sales. It looks like, just based on the data, that it's really only California Texas and New York. The one problem I'm having here, let's see. .005 F. Is when I step here, I don't like the gray in the middle. That doesn't make sense. I want to use this one in the middle. So we can say diverging, sequential, custom sequential. That's what we want. Custom sequential steps. So you got to make sure whatever you choose here on Color Brewer, I was on the wrong one. That's why. So if I want 4 classes and I'm on sequential or diverging, I have to choose sequential or diverging. So I'm going to choose sequential because that makes sense. Sequential here starts at, oh, does it always start at gray? What if I didn't want it to start at gray? Let's just see. Tableau, custom sequential. Not starting from gray. That's what we want. Use stepped color, selecting a number of steps that does not show gray. That does not answer my question. Start here and select center. Okay, start. I'm not sure what that would do. Okay, sorry about that, Chris. I thought there'd be a way to bring in the actual values, but Tableau's not letting me change the beginning. Does Tableau sequential always start at gray? Okay, so I guess we can use these numbers to choose our starting point. Let's see here. So my starting point is at 1800, but maybe I want it to start at 11,000 or 0. Sure. All right, well, it's kind of close. We're kind of using some of the stuff here from, I'll just do diverging. That'll be a little bit easier, but we can at least pick these two on this side, and then it will be pretty similar. All right. So then we can see our outliers pretty easily. Okay, so then we could put some visual like this on to that first map as well. Or we could add it to this dashboard here. Or we could even add it to, you know what, let's add it to, where was it? This one. We can make a new dashboard, but make it floating, make it automatic. We'll put this guy here, like this. Then we can also add this map. On this side. And I think we'll put the text in the middle or something, right? Dashboard 5, and so then on our intro page for sales story, instead of going like this now, I can copy and paste this, I can delete these, and then we can replace it with dashboard 5, and then we can add text up here, boom, okay. And then we can have our big title. So that's kind of cool. All right, that was just to show you how to shape files, because we kind of did that a couple weeks ago. So we can see this as well, and then we can go like here. So now we could go to, I think you said, what was the next one, cities? So we've got states, so we can go to top cities in California. So what would our sheet look like for that? To see our top cities. We can do a map. We can do, I mean, let's see a list of our cities first so we can understand the data we're working with. So we've got, we want to see sales per city.
Maybe we can just get the Californians map and then
Yeah.
when we drag the pointer to cities, it shows like tables that sales which products sold most in some kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, I like that. So let's do a filter first on California only, because we know we're looking at California, okay? And then we want to see the cities inside of California, okay? So we want to see cities on columns, and we want to see sales, sum of sales on the rows. And so we can see Los Angeles, obviously it was huge, San Francisco, San Diego, and then the rest of them, really nothing. Let's sort these. By our sum of sales descending. All right, and
Maybe we can just filter top 5 instead of
showing all of these.
yeah.
Yeah, that's probably,
Maybe top 5 could be a good like top 3.
maybe top 10 even would be good. So edit filter, top, by field 10, apply, okay. Oh, that didn't work. Top 10 by sum of sales. Oh, I'm filtering by state here. I also would want to filter by city. So we add city, filter top 10. Okay, and it's a little bit more normalized, somewhat. Okay, so we've got Anaheim, Fresno, Long Beach, Concord, Lakewood, and Lancaster. So now we can see if there's a shapefile coming back for California cities shapefile. Let's take a look at this. CA geographic boundaries to U.S. Census Bureau's state boundary, place boundary, county boundaries. We want city boundaries. I don't know if it might be county. Let's take a look at some more information to see if we can see the column names that we could join on. I'm going to download it here. Then we can extract it. And let's take a look. If we drag this shapefile in here to our data source, I'm going to open this. We would want to join it to our sample superstore again on city. So this is not right. So I'm going to go left, and then instead of it being joined to Allen or whatever it was, I got to find city and make sure it's coming from sample superstore. So then this will jump over to the left here. And now we got to see, what do I have to work with? County name, name. I'll show you, Tin, which one I did. You don't want to join it to there. You want to find the column. So, okay, Tin is asking about this one sec. So I did state to the name column, because name is the same as state. Now this one I'm trying to figure out, we're going to join city to, counties aren't the same as cities, right? So it could be name. Oh, that might have worked. Let's take a look. So we're going to scroll through our data. This is Los Angeles, this first row.
Columbia is the city.
What's that?
Is Columbia a city?
Columbia?
Yeah. Ah, yes.
It must be. That's all coming from our blue table. So we want to find our green table. So this is still California. That's good. Green table. It says Los Angeles in Los Angeles County. So that might actually work. And it's coming with a multi-polygon. Okay, so we joined on name to city, coming from this link is where I downloaded it. So the name column is typically the one in our case that's going to work. So coming back to this sheet, we can make a new sheet now if we want to do a map as well. And we want to use the CA counties, California geometry. And so here's all the California counties. Now we did a left join, so it's only the counties that there were matches on, unfortunately, right? So it's not going to show.
My map does not look like that. I just get it laid out now.
Oh, really? What did you? What was your join on? Did you left?
Yeah, I did the left with state.
Oh yeah, you gotta do city, yeah. So city's got to equal,
City equal name.
yeah, of CA counties. Did you refresh the map?
I did.
And so what we can do now is we can put when you start to get a bunch of data like this, it can get a bit difficult. But so now I can see Fresno, I can see Orange County, I can see San Diego, Riverside City. This is San Bernardino. Now these are county lines, not city lines. So it's not necessarily perfect. We can see the sum of sales, again, based on color. The darker, the better, right? And then we can visualize that. But you don't have to do maps all the time, and they can be difficult with shapefiles. It'd be fine to do something like this, and then you could do your sum of sales on your color, and we can visualize, you know, the darker, the better. And then we can make a dashboard. We can make another dashboard, right? You're going to have so many dashboards at the end of this, where we can bring in some of these things. And then we can bring in this cool map too that we just made. And we can hide the title, hide the title. I'm just doing this quick because we're running out of time a bit here. Okay, so dashboard 6, this is going to be in our story, top cities in California. So dashboard 6, we're going to start to do this. Now, what else can we show here? What else can we drill down into? We can even show a bit of Los Angeles data too, right? If we come to dashboard 6, we could put these two together. I can leave this area up here for text.
You can talk about ship mode in Los Angeles.
Yeah, or we could even drive down into like the categories, right? Specifically for Los Angeles. So we want sum of sales in the city of our top sales city of is it LA or LO?
There was
There it is. All right, and we also want it for 2016 because we're looking at that specific year, right? So we want order date, years, 2016. Okay, so $90,000 in Los Angeles, and we want to divide this by categories. We can divide it by categories this way, so we can see furniture, office supplies, tech, but then we can also show like our top, was it product names? What was the next thing down? Subcategory. I don't think I have a subcategory, do I? Oh, I do. So then we can go on color, subcategory, sort, like that. I think office supplies, furniture. Oh, well, this, yeah. So this is for technology specifically. And then we can go category on the label. No. Subcategory on label. So these are our top categories in Los Angeles for 2016. And if we even wanted to even further, we can see, well, we want to see the amount of sales as well on the label because that matters. Oops. I thought we could do that. 12,000. Why is that not letting me do that? There we go. Got to bring it in from here. So now we can see that $12,000. So we could keep drilling down, right? We could go into accessories now, and we could see out of accessories, if I make another worksheet, if I just duplicate this, and then I just filter out our subcategory. So you just keep filtering, right? Basically. So we filter out select none, accessories, apply. Okay, now we can go down by product name, I think is the next one. We don't want to do that. We want to do it like this. Product name on color. We can do it by this field, sum of sales, clear. And then we got to get rid of this thing. We're going to do product name instead there. And now we can see our specific top products in California in 2016 for our top city, in our top state, in our top, right? And we can just limit this to probably top 10, I would think. Top 10, apply, okay. Okay, and then I'll allow my fields to overlap, so maybe not. So we can see these. All right, and then what I could do is I can add those to my last dashboard here. If we've got room for this. And then I could have maybe one more sheet. So then if we come to our story, just summarizing everything nicely here. I gotta hide that sheet title. I'm kind of rushing through this now, but basically our story would go like this. We could add some text here saying our top city in California was Los Angeles with $350,000 in sales. They were closely followed by San Francisco and San Diego. Sales dropped significantly after our top 3 cities. And then the map is just another cool way to visualize it, right? It's not really adding too much. We could get rid of the map, or like it could somehow unlock like, oh, southern regions are a lot better, right? So you never know. You could get rid of one or the other of these, really. And then we can go on to say technology was our top selling category, with accessories making up $12,000 of the sum. What is this? $38,000 of the $38,000 of sales in 2016. So right, we can bring this text out just like that. We can highlight accessories. I want to get rid of sheet 23 title, and I want to hide this as well, so that on my story, there we go, it's highlighted. That should be gone. I don't know why that's there still. Oh, dashboard. Okay, hide. There we go. Come to our story. Boom. Bring this all the way across if we want. And then we could even add one more card. We can duplicate it just for the heck of it. And then instead of this dashboard, I want to bring in this. And here we could have some text on the side that just shows what our top products are, right? So our top products in our top selling category of accessories were the Logitech speaker, home theater, and Logitech Logitech P710E speakerphone. And then we can also add like an interesting analysis like this. Logitech made up 2 of the top 3 selling products in our top store or our top category in our top city, in our top state, all right? But you can kind of, that's kind of drilling down, so we can now like select the 2 Logitechs. So now if we were to take a look at this from the top and you were to present, you could go through this. We've got our intro. It grabs their attention right away. And then we've got this cool one drilling down into the state specifically. Now, I kind of rushed these last 2, so they're not my favorite in terms of how they look with the colors and everything, and they're a little bit messy. And then we come down into here, right? So that's the idea of drilling down, and I did that with 5 story points. And you can do all of these different types of story types that are here. Oh, that's Wordle. I don't know why that's there. We got change over time, drill down, zoom out, contrast, intersections, factors. So think about these outliers for your final assignment as you practice your storytelling. All right. Any questions? Yeah, Tin, you said you couldn't get your shape column doesn't have any columns. Not sure why you can't join. Did you probably didn't unzip it. You have to unzip it from the zip file before you can do it. So if I go to my downloads, you can't use it from in here. It has to be unzipped. Yeah, that error you're getting, you probably didn't unzip it. I'm assuming. So just right click your zip file, extract all, and then unzip. And then in the unzipped folder, then you go into that folder and then you get the .shape file. Make sure there's 2 .shps, but make sure it's the SHP, not the XML. All right. So that's how you make stories. I mean, pretty simple concept, but really there's so much more to diving into the details of how you make it engaging, how you have a narrative, and how you can use those storytelling techniques to drill down and bring attention to the details, right? So we could improve this one significantly, but this is a good start, right?
Introduction page is not here.
This one?
Yeah.
You like this one?
Really good, yeah.
Yeah, I like this too. Yeah, I also like this one. It's pretty good because it shows, you want to think about, right, when we talk about charts, you don't want to make it too simple. Like this is simple, but it's good because we've got another chart to go with it. Something like this one is really good because it allows us to spend time on this slide. It's not like we're just showing $800,000 for 2016. We're also showing what the top states are. And we can make tooltips, right, that even provide more information so that it's like, okay, we can spend a bit of time on the slide and gain more information. We're always concerned, what's the next question we want to answer that they don't even know that they're going to think, right? So instead of just, like if we think about it, this chart and this chart are almost the same, 1.2 million, and this is going to be 1.2 million, right? This one, I can't really learn much more from it other than 1.2 million. Whereas here I can compare the states. There's not really much more that I compare the states other than the years. But then I can also see the categories. So you always want to see what's the next question you can answer. But it is good, yeah. If you're drilling down, you want to start big, start vague, and then hone in. So you did unzip it, and it's still giving you that. So the problem you've done now, Tin, is when you bring it in, you're trying to join it to this. You have to click the down arrow and open before you bring in the join. So remove the 2018 US state data shapefile, and then click the down arrow and click open. All right, and then you can drag the shapefile in. If you're confused about how to do that, if you go through the week 9, I go in high detail in the recording about how to do it and make it work when we use some of those shapefiles. All right. Any other questions? Awesome. You got it to work. Great. Sean? You said you could get a state. So you joined on. How do we get it? Oh, yeah. So let's see. This is California places.
This is the other one. Shows you the values.
So this is the state of California. Almost. That's see your file. So, sure. Yeah, but it's the same one I use. So I don't know why. Is your data set the same?
The region one?
No, that's probably why. Oh.
That's why it's matching on region and not on.
Yeah, right. So, where is it? This one? So, if we go to, this is boundaries, that's California. Yeah, so if you search, or just go to Teams, I have the link in Teams. Go up, that's California, scroll up this one. And you scroll down to state, so regions, yeah, state, and down. Yeah, so that'll match. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, unzip and then just do the same exact thing you did before. Tin, you got yours working? Did you get yours? You happy with yours? Sort of? But you understand the basic concepts of how to create a story and. Oh, Yeah, those are the basic concepts of how to create a story. A lot of dashboarding, a lot of worksheets. You guys have done a ton of that stuff now, so it's just kind of building on and creating it. So, all right. Yes, with the join, still figuring out how to create the map. Okay. Yeah, if you have any problems with that, the week 9 recording is really good. But basically, you just bring in the geometry section, right? You just double click down here where it says geometry, double click it, and it will bring in the latitude and longitudes automatically. And it will create the map. Tableau is pretty smart when it comes to that. So cool. All right. If there's no more questions from you guys online, I'm gonna end the recording here, and then don't forget to keep working, plugging away at that assignment. Ask me any questions via email. Thanks for coming, everyone. End the recording.